Welcome back, guys. Last week I posted about Kazi's eye situation. It has very much improved, so that is good. It was also really nice reading all of your guys' different vet visit experiences and just the things that you're going through with your horses. It made me feel less alone in it, and that it's also the reality of horse ownership, so thank you to everyone who shared. I'm not ready to share about the rats, but thank you to everybody who cares and is asking. So let's get back into Zara's training. So Zara is progressing. I showed in the last video me teaching her to lead at Liberty, but I didn't really explain it much. But she's getting really good at it, and I am especially proud of her backup. It has come in handy when I needed to move her backwards to get into the position of the camera or to back her away from the fence. This task is one of those that you have to be careful with. It would be easy to create a pushy horse, so I've been using the cue "Let's Go" to get her to follow me. She doesn't quite know it yet, but she's learning, and let's say if I'm in the pen and she's following me around when I'm like mucking or feeding, I just ignore her or offer her pets but no food, and then she gets the idea and walks away. One of the setbacks for leading at Liberty is teaching them to stay in position even if you get too close. So it's the same idea as having them move out of your space. Okay, moving on to haltering. I love that when I'm just adjusting the halter or getting it ready to start training, Zara's like, "You're taking too long, put it on already." Originally, I was letting Kazi graze and just like be outside of the round pen when I was working with Zara, but Kazi has been wanting attention too, bless her heart. So she'll knock over anything to get me to pay attention to her, and of course that spooks me and Zara, so I've had to put Kazi away during training sessions.
3, 2, 1, deep, Kazi.
Originally, I thought having Kazi out would help keep Zara more comfortable, but now it's actually turning out to be the opposite. This day, it was really windy and Kazi was feeling her oats. She started running around bucking, and then once she settled down, she knocked over my folding chair and was rolling it around on the ground.
Kazi's so bad. Okay, Kazi, that horse just knocked over that chair 5 times. Just knocked it over. Zara just kept knocking it over. Roll, roll, roll. She just kept letting it roll because she's so bad.
Needless to say, I'm putting Kazi in her own pen while I train Zara, at least for now. The last part of the haltering process was getting the chin strap clipped, so here I am practicing putting my hand in her blind spot under her chin and then clipping it. Here is the final product of haltering. It never starts out like this at the beginning of a session, but by the end it's looking pretty good. But then Zara started spooking a lot when removing the halter, and when I watched the footage back, I think that it's my hand coming out of nowhere that's setting her off. I know that she'll eventually get used to it, but I'm going to try and add in a pre-cue before I start moving my hand so that she knows something's coming. So something like ready, and then lift my hand up. So we'll see how that goes. Now moving on to adding the lead rope to the halter and then leading. Woohoo! Okay, I'm getting her used to the clip sound before I put it under her chin. We practiced this a few more times than I'm showing, obviously, as with every single task, but I just wanted to point that out, so don't be deceived. And then I clip it on her for the very first time. I was a little bit like, oh, I wonder how she's gonna react with this extra weight underneath her chin, but she did just fine. So here she will be learning how to respond to pressure for the first time. I'm still using some positive reinforcement along with the pressure, so she does have incentive to do it. You'll see the pressure she's responding to is very light. I hardly have to even move the lead rope for her to respond. I'll admit that in the beginning it was actually confusing for my brain because I hardly moved the lead rope and then she did what I wanted. I have never had a horse be that light, so I didn't know if she was even doing it. So it took a second for me to catch on. She will still need to learn to fully yield to pressure, but in this beginning stage, I'm happy she's responding to such light pressure. Once she's fully desensitized and comfortable with ropes around her legs, then we can work on that with a longer lead rope, but I didn't want her running around afraid of a drag line, so that's why I'm using a short lead rope right here. And then you'll see that I try to ask a bit too much by asking her to step forward. That was actually my bad. I shouldn't have asked for that yet. It was not part of this task. You're supposed to focus on right angles only in the beginning. So I learned my lesson by getting my finger sliced from the end of the lead rope. So yeah. Every time I make a mistake like this, I feel like there's some sort of trust lost. And then there are a lot more spooks to follow it. She always does come back to continue training, but she's a lot more timid and she spooks easier after an episode like that, so that is a bummer, and I hope that I learned my lesson. here I'm working with the rope with a few different goals in mind. I need to be able to get the halter on a few different ways, and one of those would be flipping the crown piece over her pole. So I'm working with putting my hand underneath her jaw like I would halter a normal horse. Like I said, whenever she has a big spook, if I move too fast or do something, or if there's, something a little bit scary and it spooks her, it does take her a while to settle down. So the last week or so, there has been a lot of that, and I feel like I've lost quite a bit of her trust. And so I'm working earnestly trying to gain that back. And I just feel like it's gonna take some time. I mean, she was a wild Mustang. She's a wild Mustang actually right now even. And it's just gonna take some time. So I'm learning to be patient. Also, there's just a really big learning curve, so even if there's something that I'm doing wrong, it takes me a while to learn and figure it out, so I'm just trying to be patient with myself mainly, and also Zara's process. One of the big things that we need to work on, besides everything, is getting her used to other people. So my friend Allie came out to work with her, and Zara was really timid in the beginning. It took us a while to coax her over, and then Allie just started with the beginning tasks. So Allie is working with another Mustang right now, but this method that I'm using is actually new to her as well. So it was really fun to show her what I've been learning, and Zara warmed up throughout the day, and by the end of the day, she was sticking her head into the halter. So this is the same day I got in the pen just to see how Zara would do with me while somebody was outside watching, and she was still very nervous and a lot more reserved than she normally is, so we will need to work on that. Lastly, I decided to braid Zara's forelock. It just has been getting in the way. It's been sticking in her eyes, and then I feel like it has also been blocking her view, and it's gotten in the way when I'm trying to put the halter on, so I decided to braid it. But the way that I did that was using the countdown method. So I would do 10, 9, 8, 7, so that she would hold still for it, and yeah, and it worked. So I think she looks so cute. I am falling in love with this horse. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up and make sure you're subscribed so that you don't miss another video. I'll see you all in the next one.